But the members of Congress that we met with that night, who talked about how terrible it would be to even consider an attack on Iran, and were deathly afraid that such a thing could happen. When we asked them, what do you think the U.S. would do when Iran retaliated? There was silence. And they looked at each other around the table, and finally one of them said, I never thought of that. And then one of the others said,
This is what we
what do you
seem to
mean?
Congress.
And I almost lost it. And I said, what do you mean? What do I mean? I mean Iran will retaliate. And what is the U.S. going to do when they do? There was silence again. And someone said, well, what could Iran do? So I said, okay, let me count the ways. You know the military term, a target-rich environment. Opponents of the United States have a target-rich environment across the Middle East. We have U.S. troops throughout Iraq. We have U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia, U.S. troops in Qatar, U.S. troops in Bahrain. The key U.S. ally, Israel, is a sitting duck target. We have the Strait of Hormuz, where the sinking of a ship, whether it's an oil tanker or a tugboat, could stop 80% of the oil traffic for the world. I mean, that's just the beginning. That's just the easy stuff. The what is that phrase? The low-hanging fruit, right? That's before we get to anything more complicated. So there is a huge danger. And then what would the U.S. do in return? So for everybody who says, the U.S. isn't talking about invading Iran, it's only talking about a surgical strike. Okay, how many doctors in the room? Surgeons, anybody? You know, surgical strikes can go way far afield. There are no surgical strikes when it comes to nuclear weapons. They're talking about nuclear bunker-buster bombs against Iran's supposed nuclear power plant. Even if they get it right, the impact on the people of Iran, depending on which ones they hit, could be devastating in the hundreds of thousands of immediate deaths, in the millions over the long term. So when they say we have to do this to be safe, you look them in the eye and say, would you be safe walking down the street of any city in the world when your government was responsible for that kind of slaughter in Iran, who has never invaded another country in 200 years? We have a lot of work to do. Some of you may want to do some role-playing about what do you say when your member says what? Maybe we can do that in some of the question part. But the main thing to remember is these men and women work for us. We don't work for them. We don't owe them anything. They owe us. We pay for their jobs. We pay their salaries. They hold our future in their hands and the future of the people of Iraq.